Good morning, Real Life Church. We are in day 20 of our 21-day fast. I hope these last couple of weeks have been powerful for you and that God has encountered your heart in such a fresh way, especially as you've taken time to dive into the Word and into prayer, coupled with fasting. As we dive in today, I pray that God will open our hearts and our minds to receive even more wisdom and even more revelation. Our scripture today is found in 2 Kings chapter 13, and we'll be looking at verses 14 through 19. Here we find a powerful encounter between Elisha, an aging prophet of God, and Joash, the current king of Israel. Now, I believe this passage holds a profound message for us about recognizing God's ability and his willingness to do greater things through our lives than we may even realize is possible. Let's zoom into verses 14 and 15. There's a moment of transition right there. As Elisha nears the end of his life, he was struck with illness. King Joash comes to visit him, and Elisha, recognizing the king's concern for the future of the nation, offers him a prophetic sign of God's continued favor. He instructs Joash to take a bow and arrows. Now, Elisha's choice of weapon here is significant. It symbolizes the spiritual battles that Joash and the nation of Israel would go on to face. In our lives, God often also uses the ordinary, our skills, our resources, our circumstances, to accomplish extraordinary things. Just as Elisha gave Joash a tangible tool, God equips us for the tasks that he sets before us. In verse 16 and 17, there's a call to boldness. Elisha goes on to instruct Joash to open the east window and shoot an arrow, symbolizing the victory that God would grant him over the Arameans. However, the instruction doesn't end there. Elisha goes on to tell Joash to take the remaining arrows and strike the ground. This was the call to boldness, an invitation for Joash to recognize God's power and act in faith. Now let's pause right there for a moment. How often do we limit God's work in our lives by our lack of boldness and faith? God calls us to recognize his ability and to be persistent in our faith, trusting that he's willing to do far greater things through us than we can imagine. Now, verse 18 and 19, here's a missed opportunity here. In a moment of truth, Joash struck the ground 3 times and then stopped. Elisha's response was one of disappointment because Joash missed an opportunity for a more significant victory. It's a heavy reminder, I believe, that our limitations are often self-imposed. God is willing and able to do more, but sometimes our lack of faith, vision, or persistence can hinder the full manifestation of his power in our lives. Think about it. How many times have we settled for less than God's best because we didn't fully grasp his ability and willingness to work through us? Joash's missed opportunity right here, I believe, challenges us to seek God's guidance and act fully in bold faith. As you continue on with your day, I want you to take a moment to reflect. Ask God, are there areas where I've limited your work due to my lack of faith or lack of my boldness? Like Joash, have I missed opportunities for greater victories? Remember, God is able and willing to do extraordinary things through you, more so than you realize. So embrace the tools that he provides, step out in bold faith, and recognize that his plans for your life are far greater than you can imagine. Don't settle for less than God's best, but instead trust in your ability to exceed your own expectations. Thanks for tuning in today. Have a great day.